Thank you so much for joining me today on the last call with Kristin. I created this podcast to be a safe place to talk about all things recovery, healing, trauma, pretty much anything that could possibly be stigmatized. We talk about it here because it's safe, shame-free, stigma-free. I am thrilled at my guest today. So Amber comes to me from who you guys have met before, my ex-husband, Gabe. And he said, I can't wait for you to meet my friend Amber. She has a group called Recovery Roadrunners, and she is a sobriety and running coach who helps people take their lives back and point them in a new direction. So Amber, thank you for joining me today. I'm really happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me, Kristin.
Of course, of course. So I want to start off with, I love what you're doing because I feel like one of the most integral parts of my recovery was when I decided to connect my brain to my body. When I
Yes.
integrated movement, exercise, strengthening to my recovery, I feel like it took leaps and bounds. It changed it.
Yeah. For me, when I got sober, I needed something to do to fill that void and to fill my time. And I've always been a runner. So it was just natural to me. I dove all into running. I ran sometimes twice a day, and it really did save me because that physical connection is so important.
It is. I agree. What would you say? We're kind of going backwards here. I would usually save this for the end, but as a non-runner, I'm really intrigued to know the answer. What would you say to someone like me who's like, but Amber, I'm scared to run. Like, unless I'm being chased or the light is changing, I don't run. What would you want for me to know? Because I know there's many listeners that feel the way I do.
Okay. So if you wanted to run, do you want to run?
Okay. I'm up in the air of, is it a should or is it a want? Is it something I'm avoiding because to me it's uncomfortable? Or I feel like there is a part of Kristin that wants to run.
Okay. So I've got some
You should at
options for
least
you.
try it, right?
Yeah. So if you want to try it and you're scared, I would say just just go for it. Go out in the middle of nowhere, go to a park where nobody can see you and just run for 10 seconds and walk for 10 seconds and run and walk and just get your legs back and remember what it was like when you were a kid and you were running on the playground and playing with your friends. These are things that are natural for humans to do. So everybody can run. Just give it a shot when nobody's looking and start small, like 30 seconds of running, 30 seconds of walking, repeat. Some people don't want to run. So you could even say, hey, I'm going to go walking. I'm going to start a new walking program or hiking. Hiking is my jam. There's mountains all over San Luis Obispo. We go hiking all the time. You don't have to run, but moving your body is super important. So if you hate running, I totally get it. Walking and hiking will give you the same benefits.
Okay. That makes me happy because I love to walk and hike. I just
There
feel
you
like there
go.
was a should in there somewhere that like optimally performing Kristin should be able to run.
No, let me let you off the hook. You don't have to run. You shouldn't should yourself into running. Let yourself walk. Do what makes you happy because that's what you're going to stick with.
But I am going to do what you said because to my clients, I always tell them, try it on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for
Yeah, you.
example, tapping or EFT, right off the bat, someone might be like, oh my God, that's so stupid. I don't want to try that. No, just try it on. It's not something
Yeah,
you have to adopt. So when I go walk later today, I'm going to do walk run and
yeah,
just see what it feels like to run like when I was little.
yeah. just give it a try, and no, going off the bat, it's going to be hard. Okay. It's not going to be easy. You're going to feel like a baby deer, like all wobbly and unstable. It's going to be hard for a couple weeks before it gets easier, but I promise you it'll get easier. So keep trying.
Okay. You have my word. I'm going to try it today because there's
Okay,
a break in the
great.
rain. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I want to go back to, I feel like at the beginning of all addiction is pain or trauma. And a lot of people, when they're interviewing others in recovery, they're like, tell me your rock bottom. And I actually like to go further back. And I like to ask the question, what was the root of what you needed to escape from? Or what was the pain that caused the addictive behavior?
For me, it's a couple things. I grew up in a very happy, normal house. And I love my parents and my brother dearly. The one thing that was missing for me was that connection. I didn't feel seen and I didn't feel heard. All of my needs were met. My mother is like superwoman. She takes care of everything almost to a fault. I love you, Mom. Um, she did everything for me. I never had to struggle. I never had to fail. And so I never really learned anything. And so I grew up and everything was easy and it was done. And my mom talks a lot and I was very quiet and shy. So I never had to speak either. And so I kind of got used to, going to my corner and being quiet, not being seen, not being heard. And I kind of didn't know I could speak up. I didn't ask for help. I didn't say, hey, I need this. I never had really any emotional connection with my parents. Sad to say, they did a great job. They didn't know what I needed, and I didn't know either. But also another thing I wanted to mention was there is mental illness in my family and alcoholism in my family. It runs on both sides, bipolar, dementia, and alcoholism. So I think all of that.
Yeah. When did you feel like you first saw that alcohol would give you an escape from what was upsetting you? When did you kind of define, oh, I can use this as a tool?
Okay, well, when I was in high school, I was just painfully shy. I wasn't like uncool or weird or anything. I was just so shy. I didn't know how to talk to people or fit in. And when I was 14, freshman year of high school, the softball girls on my team said, hey, let's go to a party. They gave me my first drink. I drank it and I immediately felt relief. I felt good. I felt outgoing. I felt, happier and just like, wow, I fit in now. Like this is what was missing.
That is so common because with it kind of blurring the edges a little bit or like kind of taking away that I feel anxious or this is a room full of people. I always tell my clients what is interesting about that because a lot of us feel like, oh, it's just us. I have social anxiety. It's just me. All humans, all humans are wired to feel anxious when they enter a room full of strangers or even
Yeah. And
people they know somewhat. Like that is a survival mechanism that we're wired with.
right. And I felt social anxiety in high school, in college. And ever since then, I still feel it in bigger groups. I'm much better in a smaller group or one on one. I am the type of person who will freeze. I will just deer in headlights. Don't look at me. Don't talk to me. And people are like, I don't get that about you, but it's true.
Yeah. I find it interesting in sobriety, like once the alcohol is removed or drugs, whatever, for me, it was both. But once that's removed, like it's really interesting to be like, gosh, I thought I was real extroverted and I thought I was like the center of the room attention girl, and I'm really not.
I know, I know. It's like I thought it was helping me with my anxiety and helping me socialize. But then it wasn't until I stopped drinking that I realized how it was limiting me and causing all sorts of trouble in my life that I didn't even know. And now in sobriety, I'm like, I find it so easy to enter a room and talk to a stranger, talk to you on a podcast. It's just so much better in sobriety.
I agree. I agree. When did you notice that your tool, your buddy, alcohol, was becoming an enemy or a toxic relationship?
Oh, well, that brings me back to college. So I was a softball player my whole life, since the age of 5. Competitive softball. I played on all the travel teams, and eventually I got a full ride softball scholarship to Baylor University. And so that was my dream come true. But my freshman year, I moved into the dorm and I started partying way harder than I ever did in high school. And I just drank 7 nights a week instead of 2. And I just, wow, I just totally went out of control. And my softball coach noticed. He was like, "What is going on with you? You're not hitting, you're not fielding." So he benched me and I rode the bench the whole freshman year. I
Mm,
mean, I was supposed to be one of the best players on the team, and I was underperforming so bad. It was embarrassing. I gained a ton of weight. I could barely play ball anymore. And he benched me for the rest of the year and then cut me after that first year. I was devastated. And that's when I first started to think, is it the alcohol? But I was so young and in such denial that I didn't want to believe it was alcohol. I wanted to believe that it was the coach, that he was a bad person. He wasn't seeing me for how talented I was. I was such in denial.
yeah. And that is common. I know a lot of times people will be like, yeah, but that coach had it out for me. And so does my boss. And my wife is up my ass about this. And that's when I kind of try to hold their cheeks gently and say, there's a common denominator here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I was almost there, almost ready to take responsibility for myself. And I decided not to because I was 22 years old. I wasn't ready.
Weren't ready and maybe didn't even know where to ask for help or how to ask for help. I feel like so many of us, I knew for a long time, okay, Kristin, you're a problem. You have a problem. But but where do we go?
Yeah.
I don't
So
want to say I'm an alcoholic over and over again. Where do I go? What do I do? Like, where do I start?
yeah. And when everybody around you is behaving just like you, it's easy to believe that you don't have a problem.
Yeah.
So I was in college. Everybody was partying hard. Well, it didn't even occur to me to stop drinking. That's what college was for. That's what I was going to do. And that's what I did. It wasn't until after college and well into my 30s that I actually slowed down on drinking.
Was there an actual something that took place that was like, hello, Amber, you need to check this out. Like something's wrong.
Yeah, well, there were a couple things. I crashed a couple cars. I got a DUI, and that slowed me down for a while. I did stop drinking and driving excessively, which yay me. Um,
Good.
Started taking taxis and still trying to find my way around. I should stop, just continuing on. But it wasn't really until I had kids and a family that I I knew I couldn't pretend that nothing was wrong anymore. I could not deny that I had a problem.
If you and I are about 6 months apart in our recovery journey, so I'm assuming your journey began at the height of like COVID.
Actually, I was already sober. at the
Okay.
height of COVID. Thank God,
Okay.
because I know that would have just made me worse than I already was. So my journey started in 2016, 2017.
Okay.
And it I had my first kid in 2016 and my second one in 2017. So I had them back to back, and I had a teaching job. I taught second grade, and I had a husband and a house and all of the stuff. I had everything that everybody wants, everything that I thought that I should have. I thought, I have it all, and this is how it's going to be. Um, but it all fell apart because with two babies, I just was exhausted and ashamed at my own behavior. I was trying to keep it all together. I was running a lot, working a lot, taking care of the house and the kids, and it was all just too much on my plate. And I just felt completely overwhelmed. And I had a moment where I was watching my kids play, and they're just crawling around on the floor. And I'm like, oh, I love them so much. It's so fun being a mom. Wait a second. Am I really being the best mom that I can be? I'm drinking wine while they're playing, and I'm always hungover. I'm always tired. And so I just thought there's got to be a better way.
How did mommy wine culture play a part in your journey? I know for me in San Ramon, where we live, it's like suburban, upper middle class, totally normal and almost expected that it has Chardonnay in it. On the
Mm-hmm.
sidelines, at the Halloween parade, at mommy playgroups. Did you experience that pressure too, or not as much?
Yes, I certainly did. Everybody I knew drank at every function, from sports to church to running events, every holiday, birthday, everywhere, even if it's a 3-year-old birthday, right? It's so common and so expected that I felt like I just fit right in.
Yeah. And when you decided this is not the mom I want to be plugged in with my kids, I don't want to be hungover, where did you begin your recovery journey?
In the very beginning, I went to church. I grew up going to church. I have a lot of faith, and so that's where I started. At first, I looked in the mirror and I was like, all right, time to get honest with yourself. Go back to your higher power and ask for help. So I said a prayer. I said, anybody who's out there listening, God, angels, universe, like, please help me. I am so desperate for a change. I need this so bad, and I don't know how. So I asked for help, and it opened the floodgates. Help started coming in. I found 1 Year No Beer on Facebook.
I
It's an
did 1 year
amazing
no
group.
fear too.
Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
cool.
Yes.
I love that. I found a community on Facebook, and I found a community in person. I started going to Celebrate Recovery, which is the church version of AA. So I started working the steps. I made in-person sober friends. I started learning all about sobriety. I just dove all in with the book and the podcast and the sober friends, as many meetings as I could go to, all the stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I put my hand over my heart when you said I hit my knees. I said a prayer. I also grew up in a highly religious household, but I had the opposite reaction. Instead of going toward a higher power, I was for 2 decades resistant. I was like, I don't want anything to do with religion, God, church, none of it. Stay over there. And on the day that my family had an intervention with me, and it was my day one, I came back to my room and I put my knees on the floor and I said almost word for word the same prayer you did. Because I
I
didn't have
love
a relationship with God. I didn't believe necessarily in a higher power. I didn't know who I was praying to, but the prayer was, I can't do this by myself.
it. Yeah. And
And
that you make the
after that, it just felt like things, people, resources would fall in front of me. Like, okay, check out this website, One Year No Fear. Check out this book, This Naked Mind. Check out that podcast. Like it, my prayer was answered. 3 years later, my prayer continues to be answered.
Yeah. And I believe that we are all one. So all religions, all the stuff, the angels and the fairies. I'm like super woo woo.
Me too.
There's a lot of stuff we could talk about, but I'll leave
Me
it at
too.
that. And so, I mean, all of the stuff. It doesn't even matter who you pray to. You can just say a general prayer. Please help me, universe, angels, God, Buddha. It doesn't matter. Just ask for help and be willing to receive. Be willing and open-minded enough to allow whatever to come in, come in.
Yeah. And then what day was your day, like the first day of your recovery journey? And then did you ever try moderation or harm reduction or any other variation? Or have you stayed on your original track the whole time?
I wish I could say it was easy for me, Kristin, but it wasn't.
That's okay. That's normal.
It took me a couple years to make permanent sobriety stick. So I tried everything. I tried moderation. I tried only drinking on the weekends. I tried only drinking beer. I tried only having two. I tried quitting for 30 days to see if I was healed. It didn't work for me. And I tried, okay, I'm going to run a marathon and get super healthy and fit. And I would go right back to drinking after that. So I tried everything, but it wasn't until I completely surrendered and completely committed to going all in. It's like I had to learn that hard lesson over and over and over again. And then one time I had learned it enough times. And here we are. And the last time I had a drink was May 25th, 2020.
Congratulations.
It feels so good. Thank you.
5/25. That's a cool date.
Yeah, it's actually 5/26. I have it tattooed on my side.
I love that. I don't have my date tattooed anywhere. I got my first tattoo last June. It's an arrow because I'm obsessed with arrows. But I do want to get something that has when I started my journey. Yeah. So between you and Gabe, I'm inspired to do that. So because he has it real big on his arm too. I know I just thought of another thing that you reminded me of. I have, especially around the holidays, a lot of students, clients, people in the recovery arena kind of dancing around the notion of, I can just have a glass at New Year's, right? Like I've been sober for 2 years. What hurt would that do? What would you say to someone that is contemplating that thought of, it's been a year, 2 years, maybe I can handle it?
Well, I would say from personal experience, why would you want to? You've got to remember how amazing that you're feeling right now. Okay. Always think about what you are getting in sobriety rather than what you gave up with alcohol. Okay. We get better sleep, better health, more energy, mental focus. The list of benefits in sobriety goes on forever. And it's just not worth it for 15 minutes of quote unquote fun. I would say stick with your NA bevs and move on, sister. It's not worth it.
Yeah. And how do you feel about alcohol-free beverages or NA beer? Just out of curiosity.
I love them.
Me too.
I totally promote them to people, especially runners. NA beer has a chemical in it, polyphenols. It's the same as the component in blueberries. So it's very good physically for healing and repairing the body. So we tell all of our runners and Recovery Roadrunners, after you go running, crack open an NA beer, and it's going to do a couple things for you. First, It's going to satisfy any cravings that you might have. It's going to rehydrate you after losing sweat. And it's also going to give you those polyphenols. And it's the perfect recovery drink for
Yeah.
runners and people who like to exercise.
Yeah. And I think it plays such a helpful role for a lot of people. I do know it's triggery for some people, but I'm finding that the more people are open to the idea of it, it seems to really be a helpful tool when they're at a social event, or say the end of a race, or camping, or I know for me to go to live music events, to be able to, I love, like, Athletic Brewing Company does an IPA that I super love. And I feel right in. Like, the only difference is there's no alcohol in what's in my hand. I'm still
We
having a blast with the music and having fun, and I'm part of. The only thing that's not there is alcohol, because I don't need it there.
Yeah, it's all of the benefit with none of the shame and regret. And if you don't like NA beer, NA wine, or NA spirits, there's all sorts of fun things that you can drink, like a kombucha or sparkling water with fruit. Make it look pretty, put it in a pretty glass, and then you're not going to feel like you're missing out. You're still celebrating. You still feel fancy. It's all good.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you on that. For me, I started my recovery journey in AA, and there was a lot of shame in using alcohol-free beer as an alternative, or wine, or pretty much anything. They were very, my experience, I should back up and say, in my experience, it was frowned upon. So
Yeah.
when I was able to kind of move on and kind of grew out of that program and moved into other arenas, I realized, no, it's actually a valuable tool. And I've seen people, like, stick to their sobriety because they're able to use AF beverages or mocktails as a tool to feel part of. And I guess their thing was, well, you shouldn't need to feel part of, like, and I just push against that.
You know what? I'm on board with you 100%. There's not one right answer for recovery. What works for me might not work for you or for somebody
Totally.
else. There's tons of different methods and tools to try. I'm not against any of them. I think, hey,
Same.
if that works for you, do it.
Do it. Yes, I'm the
Yeah.
same way. I'm like, if it's working and you're sober and your health is optimal and you are thriving in your relationships, like
Yeah.
all the things, keep doing what you're doing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. And I didn't know that about is it polyphenol?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
really
You know what? Studies have proven the German Olympic athletes, it started there. Their coach started saying, hey, after you train, drink an NA beer. And they're some of the best athletes in the world with the most gold medals. So it is science. It is proven fact that NA beer will help you as an athlete or a person in recovery.
that's so cool. I
Yeah.
love, I love
Pretty
learning
good
little
news.
tidbits like that.
Yeah.
So when did you start Recovery Roadrunners? And when did you decide, okay, this is working for me. I now want to teach other people how to do this and how to thrive and grow and love sobriety. So tell me about that part of your journey.
Oh, it brings me back. I was a few months sober and still trying to figure out what's going to work for me. And so I learned how to meditate. And that was brand new for me. I had never done it before. And I was 38 years old. So I said, okay, I'm going to meditate. I just started by sitting on the floor with a candle, no music, nothing, just listening to my thoughts. My life was chaos. So I said, I'm going to take 5 minutes and meditate. And so I did it every day. I was trying to find peace and clarity and see where my life was going to go. because I was going through all sorts of stuff, like divorce, single mom, change of job, all the stuff at the same time. So for me, meditation was my jam. And in a meditation session, I was wondering and asking myself, okay, what's next? You know, you're sober now, you're a single mom now. What are you gonna do? What do we do next? And the idea came to me because I was looking for community. I was looking for friends. That was the missing piece. And I've always loved to run, and I wanted to find the other sober runners. And so I heard in my mind, start a group called Recovery Roadrunners. And I'm like, yes, that's it. I know there's going to be other runners and athletes in recovery, and I'm going to go find them. I want to be friends with these people. I want to hang out. We're going to do this sobriety thing together because it's so much better in a group with friends.
Yeah. And then how did you build your community?
Oh, so it's been a slow start, but it's been super fun. I'm a teacher. I've taught second grade for 10 years. And so at the end of that, well, okay, let me back up. I started a Facebook group and I invited a few friends, and then it slowly started to grow just by word of mouth. People are talking about it, and the group grew to a few hundred, and now it's at a couple thousand. And it's basically just people telling their friends, hey, come join us. We have in-person run clubs. We have online sobriety meetings. Amber teaches yoga to us, like on Zoom. We have a lot of cool stuff in the community. And so I think people are just talking about it and inviting their friends.
Love that. And you incorporated yoga. That's a huge part of my
Yeah.
recovery too.
Yeah. I'm a certified yoga teacher. I don't practice right now because I've got so much else going on, but I love yoga.
I do too. I started doing it about 6 months into my recovery, and I've been hooked ever since. And now it's like 30 minutes of my morning, non-negotiable, like brush my teeth, yoga, coffee, make my bed, check my emails. Like that's how pretty much every day goes
Oh,
without
it feels so
question.
good for your mind and your body. It's it's a great practice for sobriety.
Yeah, it is. And what's funny, people will say like, wow, Kristin, like you're really committed to working out or something. And it's like, actually, it's the opposite. Because I find that a 30-minute yoga commitment is actually ticking off like 3 things at once. Because instead of like meditating for 10 minutes, working out for an hour, like I can do all of that in 30 minutes.
100%.
The
I'm the
cheat
same
code is
way.
what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it too. You also do coaching. You help people find their own recovery journey. Tell me about your coaching.
Yeah. So my coaching program is called Quit Like a Runner. And yes, my co-coach is my trail husband and partner, Vinny. So together we lead the group, and people come to us with all different needs. They come, okay, we coach running and sobriety. And some people come to us and they're like, well, I'm 10 years sober, but I want to be a better runner. And sometimes people come in and they're like, well, I've never run before. Can you help? So we can help with all different levels of running from beginning to expert. Right now we're coaching a client and he's training to qualify for the Boston Marathon. So yeah, and he just ran a race and crushed his goal by 7 minutes. Super proud of him. And we have people in our group who are like, I don't really care about running fast. I don't have any running goals. I do enjoy running and I use it as a sobriety tool and I find it helpful in that way, but I don't care about getting faster. Just give me a basic plan. What I care about is staying sober. And so we provide that sober community. We introduce them to a small group, and everybody is super tight friends. We communicate all the time. I give tons of resources and little assignments for them to do. We meet on Zoom So it is all things running and sobriety. And it's super neat to have that much in common with people.
Yeah. And I remember in rehab, they would tell us all the time, the antidote to addiction is connection. And at the time I was like, okay, whatever. No, but it is.
It is.
It is.
It is. That was the missing piece for me. That's why I started Recovery Roadrunners, because I was doing it alone. And that's why I failed for 2 or 3 years. I didn't know anybody that was sober, didn't have anybody to talk to or learn from or look up to. And now inside this group, people, you can find somebody who quit drinking the same time as you. And you can also learn from people who are years down the road. So there's all sorts of amazing people in the group who have tons of inspiration to share. People are running 100-mile races. I mean, people in our group run the Western States, the Boston Marathon, all sorts of stuff. But it's not like you have to be fast. You have to run 100 miles, because there's people in the group who are like, hey, I don't run anymore because my knees hurt or my hips hurt, but I love to hike. I love to bike, or I love to do yoga. So it's open to all athletes or fitness people who are on a sobriety journey.
Oh, I love that. Yay. I can
Yeah.
join.
You should come on in. It's super fun.
I'm going to, because like I said, yoga is part of my daily journey. But you have my word. You've inspired me. I'm going to give the walk run method a try. So if someone like me who hasn't run since they were 6, unless, like I said, they were being chased or the light was changing. So they should start in small increments, like you said, like 30 seconds and then walk. And
Yes.
then, so how long should that first exploration
Yeah.
be?
Okay. So it's really important when you're starting a new exercise program to take it slow. Take it slow, because you don't want to get injured, because then it's game over. So if you haven't run in a long time, I would suggest starting with walking, and go walking every day or every other day as often as you can, and start with a mile. Say, okay, I'm going to walk a mile, probably going to take 15, 20 minutes. That's okay. This builds up the muscles in your legs and get your body used to the habit of exercising again, and start small. So start with walking. And then when you're used to walking, you're starting to feel fit and confident and stronger again, then you can try running. And I would say, so walk for a couple of weeks, build up your confidence and your self-esteem and your leg strength, then you can run. And the intervals would be, it's totally up to you. You can do 10 seconds of running and then 5 minutes of walking, and just play with it and see what feels good and do what feels good. Don't go more than like 2 miles in the beginning, because you're going to be sore and it's going to be a lot for you. So baby steps for phase 1, which is going to be base fitness. So just say, hey, for the next 3 months, I'm going to work on getting back in shape, and it's going to be all about walking and hiking and maybe some easy body weight movements like push-ups, squats, plank, stuff like that.
Okay, that's doable. What do you say to the client that has analysis paralysis? In other words, before they decide to even try, they're already thinking of, okay, well, what shoes do I need? What gear do I need? Because I know that it's really easy to spot someone. This would be me. I'm speaking of myself. It's really easy to spot someone who's like, okay, I'm gonna try this running thing, but where do I get those ultra shoes my ex-husband and my son have? Where do I get like the running hat that wicks sweat? What do you say to the person that's throwing all of these roadblocks or obstacles up to keep them from just frickin' trying it on?
Okay, I would say all you need is a pair of shoes. that feels good on your feet, that's not going to give you blisters, and it's not going to cause foot or knee problems. Okay. You don't need the fancy clothes. You don't need any of the gear. You don't need anything except for a pair of shoes. And that's what's so great about running and walking and hiking is put your shoes on and go outside right out your door. You don't have to drive anywhere. It's so easy to get started. Just lace up your shoes and go, and just say, I'm going to do 10 minutes. And after you do that 10 minutes, pat yourself on the back and say, I'm going to do it again tomorrow. And then you're going to see results coming fast, and it will be so motivating for you. You'll see fitness. I mean, the benefits that you're going to see are better sleep, weight loss, more energy. Energy begets energy. So once you start moving, your body's going to start craving it. You're going to start getting those natural hits of dopamine to replace the dopamine from the drinks that we no longer drink, right? So you're just going to be feeling so good that you're just going to want to keep going.
I love that. I am inspired. And if you knew me for any amount of time, when it comes to running, I am uninspirable. So you've done remarkable work with me, Amber. So thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Is there anything else that you want the audience to know about either recovery or running or both that will give them the knowledge that they are worthy of being able to do this work too?
Yes, I would say you might be thinking, I hate running, I hate walking. But we talked about before the physical connection, your body is made to move. So whatever type of movement you enjoy, do it. Biking, yoga, whatever, dancing. Find what type of physical activity that you love to do and commit to doing it. Okay. Think back to your childhood and remember what you used to like to do as a kid. Maybe it's basketball or soccer or gymnastics. Whatever that is, do it again. Get your body moving, because that's going to give you confidence. It's going to give you strength. And I believe that when your body is physically strong, that transfers to a mentally strong brain. And physical strength helps me in all areas of my life. So the stronger that I can be from lifting weights, from running, it's going to help me be a better mom, be a better teacher, be a better coach. It's going to help me show up better in all areas of my life. So do something physical every day, outside in the fresh air, in the sunshine, listening to the birds, and go explore a new trail. Make it fun and rewarding, and you'll keep doing it. But physical activity will change your life. And even if you've been stagnant for years and years, it's never too late. Even if you're 100 pounds overweight, you can start walking. Even if you've never run before, you can start walking. So find something, and you might want to start with doing YouTube videos in your house until you build up the confidence to go to the gym. Find a Tabata workout, find yoga with Adrienne, or come join us at Recovery Roadrunners and just, get inspired by other people who are actually doing it. And you'll see you're not that far behind. I started exactly where you were. When I was at my bottom, I was 50 pounds overweight and I could barely run a mile. And I was drinking 2 bottles of wine a night. And fast forward 5 years later, I lost all the weight. I am no longer chained to that bottle of wine. And it's just total freedom. So wherever you're at, you are not behind. Just start now. Baby steps, commit. And this is the best time of year to start a new fitness program, because January is right around the corner.
Yeah. Yep. Like if you kind of like my day one was December 26th, I feel like you're real committed to your journey if you start something around Christmas. So, I see no reason why it can't be the day 10 of my running journey too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Are there
right.
apps that you recommend? Like I've seen Couch to 5K, or like is there a tool that you really like or an app that you would recommend? What do you think?
Yes. The one I recommend is called Strava,
Okay.
and it's you can get the free version of Strava, and it's like Facebook for runners. So find your friends on there. And if you go into the map feature, you'll find all of the trails in your hometown. Or if you're going on a trip, you can find trails there. So you can find routes. Let's say you want to run a 2 mile loop. Open the map, click 2 miles, and it'll show you all the 2 mile loops in your town. And your friends are on there. So say, hey, meet me on Strava. And now you can follow each other's progress, and you can give each other kudos and comments and send messages. You can join groups. They have 30-day challenges. They have all sorts of engaging, inspiring stuff on there. You can follow me on there. You can follow world-class athletes and get inspiration from them. But Strava is the best app for runners and
Okay.
walkers, hikers.
I love that. Thank you. Where can people come to either book a call with you or join one of your groups or offerings?
They can find me on recoveryroadrunners.com. We also have a Facebook private group. It's private for the sobriety piece, and it's Recovery Roadrunners Facebook group. They can also follow me on Instagram or send me a message there.
And what's your Instagram handle?
It's Recovery Roadrunners.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And for the audience, I will put all of these in the show notes. So if you guys are driving or maybe running and didn't get a chance to write these down, they will all be here in the show notes. So
Yeah.
I have
You
one
know,
last, go ahead, go ahead.
sorry, I just want to say you guys can find freebies on recoveryroadrunners.com too. Click the freebies tab, lots of stuff you can print out and use.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for mentioning that.
You're welcome.
So you've come all this way and designed a community, have nurtured a community. What is in store for Amber 2024?
Growing the group, helping more people, and we've got two new things. One is you mentioned finish line. We run a lot of races, and when you cross the finish line of a race, a lot of people are going to hand you a beer. The race director's like, here's your beer, congratulations. So our group is like, no, we don't want a beer. We want a non-alcoholic beer. So we're starting a campaign. We're reaching out to the race directors and the NA beer companies and saying, work with us, partner with us. Please offer NA beer at your finish line, because there's so many non-drinkers out there, so many people in recovery who just do not want to be handed a beer after finishing a 5K or a half marathon. And so that's one big thing. The other thing we're doing is the R Scholarship Fund. So Recovery Roadrunners is a nonprofit foundation. We are on 100% donation. So we're raising money to support runners in recovery by celebrating them for staying sober. So for example, we're going to say, hey, if you stay sober for 6 months, attend sobriety meetings, and train for a race, then submit your application online, and we would love to reward you with a free race entry or a free pair of shoes. So
Love
we want,
this so much.
yeah, we want to start rewarding members of our community for their hard work, but this is 100% on donations. So it's super important to us to just grow the community and help as many people as we can.
I love it. I cannot wait to send people your way.
Oh, thank you.
So excited. Yeah, I love what you're doing. And
Thank you so
you
much.
absolutely have inspired me today. I want you to know because like I said, when it comes to running, I am pretty much like close my ears, and after learning from you, I am I'm trying it on.
Thank you. I'm so happy to hear that. One final thought, if you sign up for a 5K and it'll give you a reason to keep going, it's super fun. Sign up for a race, go do the race. You're going to be hooked. Racing is so much fun.
Okay. I am gonna put, so my word of the year last year was audacity, but considering that we're still in 2023, I'm gonna lean on my word and I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna have the audacity to sign up for something.
Don't be scared. I just saw a 97-year-old woman run a 5K. Anybody can do it. It doesn't matter how slow you are. Let all of that stuff go. It's for fun. It's for fitness. It's for sobriety. It's good for your soul. You're gonna love it.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this work with me. Thank you so much for your time and for sharing your story. And I promise I'm gonna try this and I'll tag you.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see what amazing things you can do. Thank you for inviting me on here. It's been my pleasure.
I hope we get to continue the conversation and have like a follow-up too, because
I
I
would
love
love
the
to
work
have
you're
you
doing.
on my podcast,
Yes, I'd be
which is
honored. Let's do that.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll set it up.
All right, Amber,
Thanks,
thank you so
Kristin.
much. My
Thank you.
pleasure. Bye for now.
Bye.